I know it's frustrating because the contractor's not doing a good job. You've got problems with the house. You want to get a new contractor in as soon as possible to start fixing things. But what's really critical from your lawyer's perspective is if this does go to trial, and it's important to prepare for that eventuality, is how do I preserve the evidence of the defects that have been happening with this contractor? And there's three kind of main things to think about along those lines. The first one is documenting for yourself what the problems are that this contractor has caused. And I would suggest if there's an architect for the project, ask that architect to come in and look at the contractor's work and what they've been doing and point out the problems that you have observed. You also could get your own contractor in, a different contractor, to come in and take a look around and note, document the problems as you see them and discuss them with them. Remembering, though, that every conversation you have with just about anybody is going to be discoverable. If someone at a trial could say, hey, what did you discuss with that contractor or that architect? So it's always important to be a little, aware of that fact, that your conversations are going to be discoverable in court. So then you'll have this list of problems and defects that you have now created that you observed with your original contractor. The next step is kind of an important one, and people don't always think of this, but it's to get admissions and concessions from the original contractor as to what he did wrong. And if you can, go back through the property with that contractor before you fire them, while things are still in a good mood, and hopefully maybe you can resolve these issues. But ask them and write down and document with photographs and videotape the problems that you're observing, and ask your original contractor, how do you propose to fix that? And see if you can get them, yeah, I admit that is a problem, that I installed this staircase wrong, or this foundation is showing cracking already. And videotape and photograph it and make a bullet point list of defects, a punch list, so to speak. And if you can, get that contractor to sign off that they agree that these are problems. And maybe you could get them to send you an email or something in writing that confirms the problems and confirms how they might go about repairing those problems. This is essential and critical thing to have an admission by another party as a litigator. And so when we go to trial, I could say, isn't it true that you admitted that these were problems with the construction? You even came up with solutions which you couldn't fix. If your contractor then is unable to fix those problems, unable to resolve the issues, or unwilling to, you can then move ahead with hiring a new contractor to go ahead and fix the problems. Sometimes that might require demolition. One thing to consider when you want to move forward to rebuild the structure that's defective is to remember the process that's going to take place. You're going to be destroying the evidence of the defect that could be used at trial. It's important to document that evidence going forward before it's totally removed. Under the law, it's an important concept to give the other side an opportunity to inspect the defect before it's totally removed. It's called spoliation. You don't want to, it's like spoiling evidence. And you don't want to be at trial and be accused of getting rid of the evidence so that you denied the other side the opportunity to prove to the court or the jury that, hey, there was nothing wrong with this. What's really important is to invite the original contractor to the demolition site when you are going to demolish their defective work. It sounds counterintuitive. It might even be uncomfortable, but it's important to document that you have invited your original contractor to the demolition date and time, giving them adequate notice to be present when their defective work is being removed. Then they can't say in court, hey, I didn't get a chance to see the defective work before it was removed. You can document it at the time that it's happening. It's a good idea to take pictures and videotape the demolition as well. And you'll have that important proof going forward as well. And you also might find new defects that were hidden, that weren't even observed when you initially determined that the contractor had done a bad job. New things might appear as you're taking the defective structure apart. So it's always important to remember when you're transitioning to a new contractor, preserve the evidence for trial.